승부석 2.
김대엽 선수 같은 경우는 정말 이번 캐스파컵에서 가장 기대가 되는 선수라고 생각을 했었어요. 가장 많은 프로토스 선수들이 있지만 그중에도 가장 단단한 선수.
김대엽이 굉장히 안정적으로 방어에 성공하고 있는 분위기입니다.
꾸준함과 안정감을 갖고 있기 때문에 앞으로도 안정감 있는 스타일이 계속해서 나오지 않을까 싶습니다.
김대엽 선수는 가장 안전한 빌드를 선택해줬죠. 입구 쪽에 심스트를 해주고 정찰까지 해주면서 상대방이 뭐라던 간에 이번 세트는 당하지 않겠다. 상대방의 올인마저 배제하지 않고 후반을 바라보는 게 역시나 김대엽이네요.
누가 봐도 이거는 뚫려야 되고 지지가 나와도 이상하지 않는데 절대 포기하지 않는 그런 근성 하나만 가지고 그동안의 선수 생활을 이어왔던 것 같고요. 그 모습에 많은 팬분들이 좀 매료되는 것 같아요.
어떻게든 막을 수 있어 보이거든요. 단순전사가 나오고 박진권이 나오면 버텨 보이는데 한 시간을 오히려 김대엽이 밀어버리는 이 상태로 김대엽이 어떻어요 김대엽?
조성주는 견제 플러스 세분화된 컨트롤 이런 걸 예로 들 수 있을 것 같은데
일단은 탱크 제거.
부스터 쓰고
안쪽.
전차 달았어요.
이 선수의 플레이 스타일은 전태양 선수와 사실은 비슷하다고 볼 수 있어요. 견제 위주로 플레이를 많이 하는데 거기서 사실 약간 덧붙여지는 게 있다면 조금 더 공격적이라는 거.
지레코를 허용해버리고 불사조와 함께 깔끔하게 막을 생각을 해야 되는데 아쉽지가 않아요.
지금 왼쪽에 못 잡고 오른쪽에 못 잡으면 손해를 보는 건 저기밖에 없습니다.
공격적이기 때문에 주도권을 좀 더 빠르게 가져올 수 있다고 생각을 합니다.
Even though his pro league performance gained him a spot in this tournament, he needs to prove that even at the end of this year, he's still a top-tier player.
이걸 막더라도 못 이긴다는 걸 본인도 알고 있어요.
인구수 4. 그것이 오늘 번째. 조성준.
Welcome back to the KeSPA Cup, everybody. I am happy to be back as well. It's me, Valdez, with Wolf. We're about to jump into the round of 8 here of the KeSPA Cup. We have so many great matches coming tonight, and a lot of them, too. We got 4 best-of-5s here, Wolf.
That's right. It's going to be a lot of action. It's going to be about the same amount of content you guys got to watch at the Cross Finals. So 4 best-of-5s back-to-back. We will have our round of 4 decided. Tomorrow's matches will, of course, be the round of 4 and finals together in one day. And we might have a foreign player in the top 4 if Neeb can defeat Het here in this round of 8 in one best-of-5.
And, you know, I think he can do it. It's, you know, Pet, he definitely overcame expectations getting into the round of 8 here and getting through that group that looked very hard in second place. You guys can see that Group B, as he did get through. Neeb getting in first place over Zespion and Rogue, a group of titans there for sure. And for our first match today, we are going to have Group A, of course, Stats versus Maru. Then we get Group B, Group C, Group D. You guys can see all the matches for today. Very, very high-level StarCraft coming your way.
Yeah, super high level, guys. So get ready, tell your friends about it. And we are going to jump into this little intro in just a moment here.
Let's see if they jump into a little bit of the Stats versus Maru stats here first.
Oh, that's right. We always do this match point first. It throws me off.
Yeah.
Well, Stats needs a title, and
Maru needs to break out that slump, man. Just put it on the table and show it to everybody here that is watching. I hope he does do that for us.
This is his worst matchup by far, and this was kind of evidenced in his matchup versus Classic. Stats is highly favored in the Keck TV prediction rate, and I do kind of agree with that prediction myself. Maru basically all-in with Cyclones and timing pushes to defeat Classic. And I don't know if that's going to work out here against a more tenacious Protoss player here in Stats.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Even the Korean casters saying that Stats is a high-level player, one of the best in the tournament. Guys, we're going to jump into this intro, so stay tuned.
KeSPA컵 2016입니다. 이제 16강전을 넘어서 8강전 경기를 여러분들과 함께 만나볼 준비를 하고 있습니다. 오늘도 변함없이 저는 성승원이고요. 오늘도 네 분과 더불어 함께 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘은 울프 그리고 건강을 회복한 발데스와 함께하고 있고요. 이어서 박진영 그리고 고인규 해설입니다. 저희가 이번 이제 8강전 경기를 기다리고 있는데 이 8명의 선수가 각각 굉장히 매력적인 플레이를 많이 펼쳤습니다. 가장 강한 선수도 매력이 있겠습니다만 16강전에서 굉장히 매력 있는 플레이를 펼친 선수도 있기 때문에 지금 남아있는 8명 가운데 각각은 어떤 선수를 가장 매력적으로 가장 인상 깊게 생각하고 있는지를 먼저 한번 물어보도록 하겠습니다. 울프부터.
저한테는 리브 선수가 제일 잘했어요.
네.
외국 선수인데 4대 0으로 이겼고요.
네.
모습도 좋았고 상대 모습도 좋았으니까 그렇게 뭐 비교하면 진짜 좋은 것 같아요.
정확한 얘기였어요. 닙 선수가 아무래도 워낙 또 인상 깊은 플레이를 많이 펼쳤기 때문에 자연스럽게 울프는 닙을 한번 얘기했고요. 발데스 이제 건강은 괜찮죠?
네, 괜찮아졌어요. 다 나았어요.
네. 그러면 일단 이 좋은 건강으로 누구를 가장 인상 깊게 봤는지 한번.
닙도 좋았고요. 근데 남규
맞아, 팻.
선수가 진짜 예상했던 것보다 진짜 잘했으니까 인상적이었어요.
네, 그러니까 말한 것처럼 사실 박남규 선수 같은 경우는 파워랭킹이 16위, 제 하위였는데 굉장히 예상보다 훨씬 좋은 모습을 펼쳐주면서 저그뿐만 아니라 이 해설자 두 분에게도 굉장히 강력한 인상을 줬던 것 같고 박진영 해설위원도 한번 얘기 들어볼까요?
닙스 플레이
그만해. 한국말로요, 한국말로.
영어로 끝내지 않을게요.
네.
그 닙 선수가 한국에 와서 적응이 너무 잘 됐다는 생각을 해서 되게 감동받았고요. 오늘도
아파요?
잘할 것 같은데
네.
아니요. 오늘도 되게 잘할 것 같아서 엄청 기대하고 있어요. 리허설이랑 달라서 당황했습니다.
그랬어요.
He was gotten used to the
우리 뭐
Korean scene
생방이기 때문에 항상 우리
for that
예상과는 좀 다르게
translation
많으니까 박진영 해설은 좀 아픈 것 같으니까 네, 고인규 해설위원이 좀 얘기해줘요. 고인규 해설은요?
닙, I love 닙. I love America. I love donation.
죄송합니다. 그래요. 네, 우리가 이래요. 네, 여러분들의 악플을 지금 하단에 나가고 있는 저 라이브 방송 게시판에 남겨주시길 바라겠습니다. 우리가 지금 별로 이렇게 정상적이지 않은 글들을 많이 얘기했으니까 여러분들 적극적인 악플 기대하고 있겠습니다. 자, 이제 8명의 선수들이 오늘 4개 경기를 기다리고 있습니다. 과연
He didn't mention anything
어떤
about Europe
경기를
that time. I'm
만들어낼지
surprised he
오늘
didn't
첫
call him out
번째
again.
I didn't want to call him out this
맵부터
time.
짚어드립니다.
Well, I mean, at the end of it all, the American player was the one that did make it through.
Well,
but,
if he really is in fact American, I've been theorizing it could be from Mars. We don't know, but he is doing things we've seen no foreigner really do in a group stage. At this level. Let's take a look at this map list here. Remember, guys, these are best of 5s now, so each player only gets 1 veto, which means we are going to see a little bit more of the Asan Station and Galactic Process in these types of maps, especially with this TVP for Maru. Of course, he wants to play on Dasan Station. It's his best map. It's his most successful map in this matchup recently, and I think he's probably going to push plan there. So Stats probably going to want to try to counter that. We saw Stats, in fact, be one of the first players to stop Cyclone pushes with Blink in the GSL in Season 2, so I think we'll probably see him try to do something like that should Maru decide to go for a similar type of push.
yeah, we have a sheet here actually that shows what maps these players like to pick, and just in terms of races, right? Protosses are always picking Frost. It's the most picked by far at 6 times. Then the next one is Dasan Station at 2 and New Gettysburg at 2. So loving Frost are the Protosses. Terrans are loving King Sejong Station, no surprise there. Also liking Frozen Temple. And Zerg's also liking Frost, as well as New Gettysburg.
Yeah, definitely true. And we can talk a little bit more about the bans a little bit later on.
Yeah, Terrans don't like Apotheosis. Zergs don't like Frozen Temple. But guys, we're going to jump into game number 1 here. Stats versus Maru on Frost.
프로스트로 떠납니다.
Here we are on Frost for map number 1 of this first best of 5 of 4 that we have coming your way. And up in the top left in the purple, the Protoss player, it is Stats.
And down here to the bottom right, it is our Terran player Maru from the generic Green Wings team. He's going for another gas first opening here, even on Frost. Now we are cross spawns this time on Frost, so it's going to take him a little while to get across the map to put on that pressure that he's likely gearing up for right now. And we do see a very early scout for Stats. And the reason why we see this early scout is because Maru's been showing so many gas first builds that even on this 4-player map, if you scout second, you should be able to get in there unless Maru tight walls, so you might be able to get in there and get some information. And either way, the Marine is late with a gas first build, so you can come up there and identify that as well. And even if you lose the probe, it's still valuable scouting information about the spawning locations and how far away your opponent's going to be. So this probe's going to come in here real quick, and we'll be able to identify this is a very early gas.
Well, not going to block that off, so probe does get in, and of course will get that information. He's going to start off with the Reaper here, and we'll see what he is going to transition into. No doubt a fast factory with all that gas, although the probe does see everything, the gas first, the barracks, the CC, and stats just going for a very standard build back at home, Gateway Nexus Core. Nothing too surprising so far. I'm really looking to see what is the follow-up going to be for Maru, because, I mean, there's so many things that a Terran can do with this gas first.
Absolutely. The aggression we saw from him 2 days ago was actually really powerful. I mean, we've seen these Cyclone builds utilized by players like Innovation to great effect. Gumiho as well, another great Terran who showed that Cyclones are powerful and dangerous in the early game here in Korea. We're not meta for a while. Then players like Stats actually kind of learned to defend them with different various options. Some of the options players were using was making more pylons at the front, so they got more overcharges to buy more time. Stats took a different approach, went for Blink when he scouted it, so we've seen different types of approaches of this. Maru may just simply go for an early Widowmine drop with Marines, though. He doesn't have to go for the Cyclone. He's in fact getting a second barracks right now, so that seems more likely with these reactive Hellions coming out now as well. So the possibility for a push was there, but I think on this map, it's just not as effective at these spawning locations especially.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the 2 Hellions are going to help Maru get a good scout off, too. It's almost impossible to block off that ramp as a Protoss this early on, unless you put that gateway there, which you don't necessarily do against Terran. So the Hellions, we'll see if he goes for that scout, or if, I mean, we've seen him do stuff before where he drops into the main and then runs Hellions into the natural. It's very strong against any race, really, but especially against Protoss and Zerg. So he is just going to send them across, though. He's not going to, you know, gear up for 1 drop and get 4 Hellions, anything like that. So probably just going for a scout here, see what he can find.
With the Adept's placement here, he should be able to get in. He's also going to send a Reaper at the same time, and if he sends the Reaper, he can scout and get a little bit of harass damage done here. No photon overcharge available here with the pylon not yet finished. Actually going to disrupt some mining here. This Reaper should be able to, well, not anymore, escape because he's going to commit to kills.
Gets another kill, and he scouts everything, too, so very worth it. You know, he trades a Reaper and a Hellion to get 3 probes and damage, but also see everything that's going on.
And he's gearing up for a follow-up push with Stim. Looks like he's going to bring +1 in combat shields into the equation as well with his engineering bay. And Stats is going for that Blink. And that's going to allow him a little bit more flexibility against this pressure once it comes across the map. And he may himself also go for an attack with a Warp Prism on the way right now. Looks like he is going to be committing to more aggressive Blink Stalker play here on 2 base, which we've seen kill a lot of Terrans who are not prepared.
But Maru is very prepared. You know, as we were saying, he gets the full scout. You can see double Marauder production coming down here. Not even going for the combat shields first. He wants to get that +1 out first. But even a Widowmine there to block 1 natural and something else at the other, or not natural, third base. There's something else of Maru's blocking, maybe just 1 Marine at the other third base location. So he's scouting just to see if he's expanding and to see, you know, when is this push going to come out.
It could be the Hellion, too, actually, that's over there.
Oh.
I think it is. So he's going to catch this.
It's going to fly right into the Widowmine, so it gets a scout, and now that's a really weak Warp Prism, only at 40 health.
Still, you know, obviously quite powerful, but it's not going to be able to do as much as he wanted it to do. Looks like the Hellion or whatever Maru had at the third base was cleaned up and killed by ranged units at the natural. He comes over here to clear the Widowmine, but it's already gone. Maru is just 1 step ahead in this first game here. He's got a turret, several Marines available here as well. If he actually stims, that stim is so close to being done. Looks like it's just barely not going to be, but if he had stim, he could stim this. If it hits the turret shot, he kills easily. Not going to happen, though. It is going to be done in 6 seconds. In fact, Stats is going to commit to this attack. This could be expensive. He needs to make sure he picks those units up using that ranged pickup.
Yeah, definitely not going to go overboard here. Just going to attempt to do a bit of damage to the army, it seems, because he wants to put on a little bit more follow-up pressure. Uh-oh. Going to get another hit here, taking out a Stalker, but this Widowmine will go down. But it does scout, you know, a bunch of Stalkers moving across the map, which gives him even more information. The one thing he doesn't have is, you know, the information of when that third base is coming up. So, especially because they're at cross spawns, it's going to be hard for Maru to get that information. But I think he should be easily able to hold off this kind of push, especially with the Liberator.
You know, the really scary thing I feel for Stats is this army that's coming across now. Well, +1, you know, finishing at 13 here. Combat Shield's going to finish around the time it hits his base, and it's got Stim, of course, has for a long time. Even getting, you know, 2 Tech Labs worth of Marauders. It's a heavier push than just the pure Marine push we have because it's so good against Stalkers. And he's going to have even Concussive Shells. He's gone all the way to that. So this is a very powerful push coming across here from Maru. My concern for Maru, though, is that if this does not do enough damage, you know, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him to transition against these Colossi because Stats is again doing this greedy Colossus follow-up with the 3rd base. And on this map, you can sometimes just get away with that because of the long rush distance. So Maru will need to find some damage here, or simply just going to have to accept being behind in tech.
Yeah, it looks like Maru does want to push out a little bit. He knows that Stats, you know, committed to that attack and that his 3rd base was late, so he should be happy about the fact that his 3rd base is on equal timing with the Protoss. That doesn't necessarily happen all the time in this matchup, so he's good in that. Now he just needs to see what the follow-up is. He scans and he sees the Colossus, and this is looking like Heart of the Swarm like 2014, 2015, or maybe he's just going to attack before the Protoss has a lot of Colossi and just out-micro them with Marauders. We'll see, you know, what he wants to go for. It looks like he wants to go like around the back and surprise him and maybe pick off that Colossus from the back.
He needs to have surface area to work with in order to snipe that Colossus using micro, as you said. 3 perfectly placed Stalkers here will not only stop this, but kill this Liberator. All right, here we go. He's going to come into this mineral line. Let's see if he commits. No, he does not. He backs away. He has a large amount of Marauders, but I don't think it's enough, and Stats is clearly very aware of what's happening. Like you said, very rare in this matchup, you know, to have a Terran line up their 3rd base this quickly with what Stats has. So that's what he's got going for him. It's going to allow him to transition into the greater tech to deal with these Colossi. But as it is right now, I'd say Stats is significantly ahead with this faster 3rd base, this Colossus tech, and he sniped that Liberator. He's taken no real worker damage. He's up 8 workers currently. He's got double forges going. He's in a very comfortable place in this game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Maru's going to do because we still only see 1 starport here with the reactor. No Vikings have been produced yet. He has 7 medevacs, and he's adding a lot of Widow Mines. He might just try to attack before that Colossus count is too high, or maybe, you know, attack at 2 locations. You already see a decently sized couple of drops being set up towards the north. It does look like something was scouted because Stats is moving into the position to stop this. But in fact, now he moves out of position as he sees another big part of that army coming from the left side.
Yeah, this is going to deny the 4th base from Stats. You guys probably didn't see it on the minimap. He did snipe that probe. Meanwhile, drops in 2 locations, shades at the natural, and a little bit of Stalker damage here in the main. Maru's entire army is away right now, and he is having to send a medevac full of units home to defend. As he just did not have rallied units at the time. Now he does scan here. He knows this is most of Stats' army, so he's going to hit the 3rd base at the same time. He's using that multitasking he's so well known for to attack this 3rd base here. Can he cancel the warp in? Most of it. Only 1 adept comes out. He's going to target down this base. He does have +1.
Should be able to easily get this and stim away. We'll see how much of his army goes down. In fact, he's just going to trade and back off. A very, very nice maneuver here from Maru. Now trying to find some more damage, perhaps, going for those units. May drop the main. At the same time, this drop gets totally shut down. War Prism won't die, but he won't take any damage there in the main.
Now, this is a great scan. This reveals the Templar tech, so he knows what he's up against next, which is going to be those Psionic Storms. So he knows not to commit too heavily to the Viking count because he's going to be dealing with 2 forms of area of effect damage coming in here in the Colossi swipes and the High Templar Psi Storms. This medevac narrowly escapes. When you look at where we stand in this game, Stats is now double expanding, but he's in a little bit more of a shaky footing than he was before. Maru is keeping up with him in upgrades, and in fact is even slightly ahead. Obviously, Chrono Boost could change that, but he has a larger army. He has the proper tech now, and even though he was down in workers, because he has 3 bases mining versus Stats only being on 2 bases, long distance mining from a 3rd, he's just got a significantly better economy. And look at all those mules.
Yeah, lots of mules. And as our observer was pointing out, Storm only now being researched. He has committed to 3 Templar already. So Maru does have a decent amount of time here. We'll see how many Vikings he does want to make. He's gone up to 6 as he has added that 2nd starport with the reactor. As you were saying, maybe doesn't want to overmake, but at the same time, there are 5 Colossi in the map, so he does need some contingency of Vikings in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that he repairs these medevacs. Those are so valuable when you are using starport time to make Vikings. You cannot be losing those because and then every time you stim, you're losing so many hit points that eventually the Protoss army, no matter how ahead you are in upgrades or how much larger your army is, it will just kill you because you don't have enough hit points and your energy drained on so few medevacs. He's even going to switch into this Ghost Academy tech right now, adding all these extra barracks, and it looks like we are going to A very late game, almost TVP, Wings of Liberty era late game here where it's Vikings and Ghosts versus the High Templar and the Colossi. It's just Adepts here instead of Charged Zealots, really what we're seeing here. And this harass will get shut down.
Interesting position on that Ghost Academy. The Adepts, in fact, do scout that. I'm not sure exactly why he put it there. There's no real reason. I mean, the Ghosts do come out of the barracks, so the nukes don't fly faster. If you're going to make them there, it doesn't really matter. But maybe there was just an SCV there. He just wanted to quickly make it. But we are having these two armies positioned in the middle of the map. A couple of Widowmines do get burrowed. And a nice concave here from Maru. Stats has to be very careful about fighting in the middle of the map like this.
I don't know if he has storms. Okay, here they come down. 2 of them, 3 of them. Very solid storms on the Vikings. The Vikings not killing the Colossi quickly enough here. In fact, starting to do their damage now. He needs to kite back. The Stalkers need to start blinking. This is actually such a close fight. +2 has not done this entire time. The Vikings will start to fall. And 2 Archons coming in here. Gonna push this army back. And this is absolutely a better trade for Stats. Maru's Vikings just couldn't do the damage quickly, and they just sat underneath the storm the entire time.
Yeah. They sat under 2 storms, man. They did not split. They did not micro. He kind of had that concave, and he's like, okay, I have the concave. I should be able to win this fight, but way too much AoE from 5 Colossi and that many storms.
Stats made to simply end this game here. Now they're on even upgrades. Maru's trying to take a 4th CC right now. It will just barely finish. You can see on the production tab down there to the left of his main base. A huge EMP goes off on these Adepts, but not on the High Templar, not on the Archon. So this army is the backbone of it. It's still very powerful. And Maru has to wait until he has more units before he can fight this. Now he's lost his Ghost Academy because of, like you said, his positioning here, very vulnerable. And now he can't make more Ghosts. So 2 Ghosts is all he's going to have for quite some time here. And he may just simply lose his base. And in fact, he had to lift his 4th. It's going back towards his main base right now.
More storms raining down, and he has more where that came from. Thankfully, no Colossi in the mix, and not that many Vikings, but still a very strong Protoss army nonetheless. And here he comes. He wants to take that fight.
Liberation Zone being planted here. He only has 1 Liberator. Nice Stormy on top of these medevacs. I don't see any EMPs off that lone Ghost. Another Liberator comes in to join the fight. Archon's morphing directly in the fight. Maru has a lot of healing here, though. Can he actually hold on? He's going to land this Viking. This is such a close fight as well. The Archon's not actually fighting this army, but now that they come up, there's not enough bio here, I feel. The medevacs are trying.
The medevacs are the heroes of this fight, and Maru actually evens up the army supply despite losing 25 SCVs. Lands those mules, not as matter mules, but to get his economy back up and running. And Maru somehow holds despite losing a lot of SCVs in that fight.
I really feel this. A lot of this goes back to the medevac repairs we saw earlier. The medevacs at full health, higher energy, medevacs he has alive. Obviously, because when you have more medevacs, they're like less tax. They can kind of spread the load on healing. Get out of here, Lyote. Get out of here. You don't want to be there, Lyote. Oh my God, Lyote almost blocked the Commander. All right, but medevacs at super high energy. They can heal that army up. Now we're going to be, again, dead even on 3-3. Maru started his a little bit faster, but again, Stats has Chrono Boost, which will catch them up. They're going to be about only 10 seconds behind. But let's not forget, let's not ignore that Stats actually has the much better economy and now even has a 5th base. He has much larger worker count, so he can replace his expensive army a lot faster than Maru can.
Yeah, I mean, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Maru's not ahead in this game. He like just barely held on, right? Stats, he's got 3-3, still has all that AoE. He has to replace all those expensive units, but he more than has enough economy to support that, as you were mentioning. A nice Stalker count as well to deal with these Liberators that are now being teched into by Maru. There's still only 1 Ghost on the map. I'm not sure if he remade a Ghost Academy, but at the same time, there's only 1 Archon and no High Templar, so maybe Stats is fully making the switch back into Colossi.
This is one of the things that we saw, when both of these techs were super popular in this matchup in the late game. I mean, they pretty much always have been. This matchup has changed quite a bit, but when you get to the stage of the game, the switch is something that's terrifying for the Terran. But he catches a lot of this army. Got out here alone, but he's still going to fight it. They're both 3-3. Those Colossi being migrated even into the Prism. But Maru, with such a large concave, plus the medevac healing, will again win this fight.
Stats, just taking a fight as Colossi were way too far up in the fronts. They were not protected, and even though he loses 10 more SCVs, it doesn't matter because Maru takes a good fight there and now has the much stronger army. You can see how slowly that 1 Colossus builds over on the side of Stats. So this is really Maru's opportunity, and he is going to take it. He's going to try to drop that 5th base and maybe try to hit the 3rd from the left side at the same time. This is a very big map. And, you know, a lot of different paths to take for Maru if he wants to punish stats here.
It's really significant as well that Maru takes his 4th base as a planetary. There's a lot of trade-offs from taking a planetary fortress, so that's why you usually see it only on maps with high-ground areas in competitive play. This is a unique planetary. We don't normally see planetaries like this, but he's so desperate to restart his economy. He does not want Adepts killing SCVs on the ground. He does not want ground armies trying to snipe his CC, so he commits to this. However, because he's so low on SCVs, that's one less mule he's going to have because, you know, he's on an orbital, and also it can't be relocated later on in the game, which is something we're seeing Terrans do a lot right now. But Stats is not responding to this drop whatsoever and will lose this base for free. And here comes another attack to the left side as well.
Thankfully, he has 3 cannons here. They do get unpowered quickly, but with the Colossus coming over and a warp in, he will defend that. The real story is that a huge base taken out here essentially for free because Stats had no vision on the right side of the map there to stop this drop.
Picking up here in the medevacs, trying to escape now. The Stalker's just barely out of range. Oh, it gets one.
Nice.
That one Stalker on the low ground is like, I'm better than the rest of you Stalkers. As we see now a huge transition again back into these Mars he can now afford, and Stats needs to be careful with his expensive units because he doesn't have the gas mining that he once had with that 5th base. His gases are getting close to drying up at his natural as well. And right now what Maru is doing is he's marauding. You know, his composition up here is very powerful. Marauders can snipe Colossi. They do a lot of bonus damage to armored units. So the Colossi, he can target those down if he has an overwhelming amount. He's also switching back to a few Ghosts, so he can have some EMPs to blanket the Adepts. And basically, an EMP will take out half the hit points of a Protoss army. So if used correctly, they could just turn the tide, despite he has kind of lower tech, if you will.
We always talk about that, you know, with the Adepts especially because the Ghosts are just so good against them. In general, you can just blanket them, especially because they group up so easily. Now, 6 High Templar are back in the mix, so the Ghost is going to be more important than ever, and he's going to be glad that he does remake that Ghost Academy.
Ooh, some units getting caught here. This army will stim and draw Stats away. He needs to link his armies up, though. Every cycle of Marauders does matter. Hashtag Marauders Lives Matter, man. And they need to get together.
Hashtag all lives matter, man. Not just the Marauders, the Marines, the Ghosts.
Medevac
even
pilots.
the Protoss lives matter. Think about it. They're people too.
All right.
Even though they're aliens. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Tal'Darim Lives Matter. All right. 2 DTs actually warping in here. I think that's for the Prism that's going towards the main base. So we can see, nope, actually it's just Adepts.
I'm surprised that it took 17, 18 minutes to have a Dark Shrine complete in a PVT. We don't usually completes, you know, somewhere around minute 7 in this matchup nowadays.
Yeah, well, this is a very powerful attack. Again, the tech problem here for Maru is real. He's up against Storms and Colossi. He's got a low-tier army. It's obviously a very cost-efficient low-tier army, but he doesn't have... He has 1 Liberator, he has 0 Vikings. He has to avoid this Protoss army and kill bases and kill structures. This planetary actually going to be a little bit of a boon for him right now as he does set up for this. He doesn't have a lot of resources to even repair it, though, to be totally honest.
His entire army was in the main. I'm not sure why. Maybe he was trying to shut down that drop. Now he's going to come from behind, funnily enough, pick off a High Templar, and maybe this Protoss army gets out of position, but Storm's blanketing this entire army now.
Good Storms here, but all the High Templar do go down, but Maru's army is dropping. GG. Even if he kills every High Templar just standing there, Stats' army is just much larger. And because Stats was able to get into a good position and he had DTs, Maru was not even confident enough to go for an elimination race and try to go over to his base and kill his buildings and fly away. When DTs are on the map, it's so difficult. That's why that tech is so popular. And in my opinion, it is literally the reason why I made the Dark Shrine is if I attack him, right now I have to be confident. And if I have DTs, he can't base trade me.